Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome back to Rimworld Ascension, episode 42, the Medieval Recap. As always, remember to like and subscribe, and little announcement, I will be uploading another video sometime in the next week after this upload, probably closer to Friday, Saturday, so keep an eye out for that. It's going to be something pretty neat. And with that, let's get into the story of how we got to the Industrial Era. Kaminoa was finally doing well. Plans were now in place to expand the main keep and the towns surrounding it, and Bon Bakan was fully anticipating that this place would grow more. Having built this place from the ground up, the other members of NASA all were in agreement that, despite all their previous disagreements, Bon Bakan was the best to become their official leader. His first decision was to appoint Agir as the Whisker Russer, placing him in charge of all the town's animals. Now having access to basic plumbing, a proper sewage system, and by extension, restrooms, were now to be constructed within the keep, something that brought great comfort to all. However, this newfound peace and hope was quickly extinguished as a truly massive raid from the red-tarped bandits attacked suddenly. Realizing their meager defenses would not hold back such an attack, Bon Bakan made a gamble. He awoke the slumbering insects just outside the wall, hoping that they could weaken the enemy. The gamble failed. The insectoids breached the wall and failed to do much on the raid. Bon Bakan collapsed as he tried to evacuate with everyone else, and Apple, despite her fear of fire, tried to reach him, only to be met with the same fate. Myers also died, holding back the bugs, buying time for all the others to evacuate. As all the ones who survived sat outside Kaminoa, no one knew what to do. They had just lost their leader and their home. After a time, Calhoun stood and started to walk north. The others, still reeling from the loss, followed. Eventually, they came upon a place that they decided they could rebuild. Alas, they had no supplies, no food, and while Calhoun built a basic shelter, Herring died due to malnutrition. And despite the loss, they all pushed on, knowing it was do or die now more than ever. And just as they finished their humble shelter, 6 opportunistic raiders decided to try their luck and paid for their choice. Though they were all wounded, everyone survived, just barely, and they all got dragged back for medical attention. As they all laid in their spots, Calhoun jokingly asked what they should call this place. As everyone was still exhausted from the fight and from all the work, they all just decided to call this place New Kaminoa. However, as winter settled in and food became even scarcer, Latch had a complete mental breakdown and executed Agir despite everyone's attempts to stop him. A few days later, a strange offer came to them, offering maize in exchange for a building. Needing more people, they agreed. Later that same day, 2 refugees arrived asking to stay in exchange for labor, which of course Calhoun quickly agreed to. Realizing how exposed they were to attacks now, Calhoun began an ambitious project to construct a very basic wood wall around their future town. As winter continued on, a fungoid ship crashed, to which the entire town quickly responded to, dealing with the threat. Now that their position was more secure, another deserter, Maproctus, reached out for aid, and despite the threat of a loyalty squad coming after her, none ever arrived. And with spring finally arriving, it was decided to quickly begin farming and build some real housing for everyone, and a warehouse for all their supplies. While construction was underway, a group of 10 lizard folk attempted to raid before New Kaminoa's defenses were up. This did not end well for them, and they were quickly repelled. One of them, Four Eyes, was captured and would later be enslaved by the members of NASA. Later that night, 7 Centurions planned to attack, expecting everyone to be sleeping. But, due to the raid earlier in the day, New Kaminoa was still on alert and defeated them handily, forcing the remainder to retreat, leaving one named Victus to be captured by NASA. Around a week later, the Bompa Pact launched an assault on New Kaminoa, bringing 10 well-armed soldiers to the fight. While they were successfully repelled, many were injured, and those that escaped would bring word back to their settlements, which would cause massive problems later. Mere days later, while everyone was still recovering, the Centurions returned in force, 12 this time as opposed to the previous 7. They managed to inflict some damage onto New Kaminoa. However, while they were distracted, a group of slavers tried to take advantage of the situation and flank around. This ended very poorly for them, as they quickly moved over and dealt with them, but not before they lit the hayfield ablaze. With the next winter quickly approaching, Latch realized they did not have enough food. He brought his concerns to the group, suggesting that they should build some greenhouses, to which everyone agreed, not wanting another bad winter, and so plans were laid out to construct 3. Unfortunately, a raid of 15 arrived the next day, catching everyone off guard, and while they had dealt with similar-sized raids, this one was well-armed. Although the raid would be defeated, not only were the defenses damaged, but Victus lost his life as an unfortunate amount of explosives would detonate at his feet. In the following weeks, New Kaminoa experienced a massive change. They constructed a proper hospital to reduce further losses, and they built a real prison to deal with any hostiles they captured. Yet it would seem that it would not be so easy, as a toxic fallout would roll in, causing the last few precious days of growing to be lost. However, thanks to their planning for winter, not only did they have a massive stockpile of food, they also had completed all 3 greenhouses with plans to build another. But as the fallout made going outside dangerous, they instead chose to focus on improving their quality of life. Latch finally got a proper kitchen, and a proper dining area was established, along with a full bathroom. Soon after the fallout dissipated, Calhoun, with the help of Four Eyes, expanded the workshop, allowing for more research benches to be built, increasing their technological development. Almost as soon as said expansion was finished, the leader of Western Atene offered a man named Michael in exchange for New Kaminoa to watch a prisoner. Seeing as there was no downside to this, it was agreed to unanimously. However, in a cruel twist of fate, the Bompa Pact had returned, and they came in force. They had brought an army of 29, rivaling the one that destroyed their old home. While almost the entire town wanted to simply leave and start anew again, Calhoun would not leave due to a foe again. He quickly had embrasures set up between the tavern and hospital and had everyone go inside. While much damage was sustained and few enemies killed, New Kaminoa stood, and it would take this loss in stride, not only replacing all the previous wood walls with steel, but also doubling the size of the wall, encompassing the entire southern region. As winter gave way to spring once more, a great church was built, showing all that they still stood, despite all efforts. With spring now in full effect, an expansion of the homes was planned. They would build 3 new houses and a new road to facilitate quicker transport. But one summer night, the 2 slaves, Christy and Four Eyes, made a great escape. Having stole the keys from one of the guards, they managed to flee far and fast enough that they could not have been caught. Still reeling from the loss of 2 of the most productive members, the Bompa Pact returned again, 18 strong this time. However, unlike before, New Kaminoa was prepared and crushed them under heavy plate armor. Just a few days after that great victory, An 8-year-old, Noah, called for help, and despite risking the entire town due to the very powerful lizards, they ripped down a piece of the wall to allow the child entry, sealing it up quickly behind him, just in time. More time passed, and they grew stronger, yet it would seem the Bompa Pact had a vendetta against them at this point, attacking again with 18, but this time they had learned. They brought many explosives, and while unable to penetrate the Great Wall, they had thrown so much dynamite at the embrasures, it killed Merproctus. While they had lost more men, it was a loss felt by all New Kaminoa. A funeral was held for Merproctus, where all gave their heartfelt speeches about them and their life. It was here, at this moment, when Calhoun was giving his speech, he swore that all the Bompa Pact would be destroyed. No more should have to die at their hands. Later, after that was all done, Jalil approached Calhoun, informing him she had made a breakthrough and was confident they were now able to begin industrializing. And perhaps now they would finally stand a chance.